versus cum in eam locum, undi erant aggressi, reverti coeperant, et ab eis qui caeserant, et ab eis qui proximi staterant, circum veni ebantur. Sin, autem locum tenere velent, nec virtuti loquus relinquebatur, neque ab tanta multitudine conjecta tella conferti vitare poterant. Okay, Caesar starts us off with an adverb, and then we've got cum. When, since, because, with, although. Not quite sure. Let's see what comes next. Cum in. Well, it can't be with because you're not going to have two prepositions in a row. So I'm thinking that this cum is a clause marker. So we're going to start the beginning of the clause here. Cum in eam locum. Okay, prepositional phrase. Here's that nifty prepositional phrase right there. Now the next word is unde. Hey, that means from where, and that in itself is a clause marker. I wonder if Caesar is putting a clause inside our cum clause. I bet you he is. So we're going to mark this unde, that place from where erant aggressi. Yep, there it is. From which place erant aggressi. So there's another little clause right here. Reverti coeperant. Oh, okay, so that's the rest of the cum clause. When, and then here's the verb. So the basic part is when they tried to go back. To go back where? To that place, and then he gives us this little dependent clause to describe that place. That place from where they had just left. So we're going to close off that cum clause right here. And we'll keep going. Ad ab eis qui caeserant. Oh, look, do you see what I see? Hey, isn't that a song? Do you see what I see? Oh, no, that's do you hear what I hear? Anyways, look, we've got et, which is a both and. So Caesar probably has some sort of parallel construction. Let's keep going. Let's see. So we'll mark those because they're interesting. We've got a both and an and then look, he does do something funky here. By those guys, ab eis, and then we have a relative clause to talk about those guys. And then when we go over here, and by some more of those guys. Another ab eis, and I betcha it's going to be a relative clause to describe those ab eis, because Caesar likes to make these parallel constructions. Qui proximi staterant, absolutely. So another relative clause to go here. So we still don't know what the main verb is. So by those guys who did this, and by those guys who did this, oh, and then here's our main verb. Circum veni ebantur. Uh-oh, not looking good for the Romans. So this is the big important verb. So the Romans are the subject of circum veni ebantur. The Romans were being surrounded both by those guys who did this and by those guys who did this. When were they being surrounded? They were being surrounded when they tried to go back. Go back where? To that place from which they had come. Uh-oh, does not look good for them right now. Okay, the sin word is kind of weird. That's a but if. It's a clause marker, and it introduces this clause that goes here, up to Wellant. But if what? So we're going to bracket off this clause first. But, however, but if, locum, accusative, tenere Wellant. Did you notice how tenere completes the expectation raised by Wellant? So it's tenere is a complementary infinitive finishing off what they should want. But if they wanted to do this, what happened? Nec virtuti locus relinquebatur. Okay, virtuti is dative. Locus, oh wow, a nominative. And right next to the verb. Jeezies, Peetsies. We haven't seen anything like that in ages. No place for virtue was being left. So if they should want to do this, you can take locus not necessarily as a physical place, but maybe room or the opportunity, because they're talking about a battle. They're not talking about a spot on the ground, but they're talking about the capability of doing something. So no opportunity for virtue was being left. They didn't have any room. Neque, oh, look, we have neque here. One thing that they couldn't do and another thing they couldn't do. Neque, ab tanta multitudine Prepositional phrase, easy peasy. You guys should be really good at that by now. Prepositional phrase down to here. Conjecta tella conferti vitare poterant. Okay, conjecta tella, noun adjective pair. Conferti looks like it's nominative plural, probably talking about the subject. That means crowded together, squished together, something like that. And that modifies the subject of poterant. And of course, vitare is a complementary infinitive to finish off the idea. So let's see. But if they wanted to hold the place, if they didn't want to back up from whence they came, like these guys up here, but instead if they wanted to fight and hold their ground, there was no space for virtue being left, and neither were they able to avoid the arrows having been tossed by such a huge crowd. And why couldn't they avoid them? Because they were all squished in together with conferti. Neither, having been squished in by the huge crowd, were they able to avoid the weapons that were being tossed at them. Oh, not looking good at all.